Hi beauty, in this video, we will sew a top with a puff peplum, an open back with ties. Let's get started. In front of me is the central front panel and two side panels. I join the side panel with the central one, starting to align the pieces along the bottom edge. I pin them together. I join the second side panel with the central panel, also starting to align the pieces from the bottom edge and pin them together. Now, to the side edges of the front side panels, I attach the back pieces. I start aligning the pieces from the bottom edge and pin them together. I attach the ties to the central front panel. I connect all the lining pieces in the same way. And I sew all the pieces together. Always do the first fitting before sewing all the parts of the top together, so you can make adjustments if necessary. Before joining the top's main fabric with the lining fabric, all seams need to be pressed open. First, it's important to simply press the seams, and then press them open. In the areas where the bust is located, I will use a special pressing ham to give the bust the desired shape. Since there will be a cut in the center, this area needs to be reinforced with interfacing. The minimum stretchability of the piece of interfacing that needs to be glued in the center should be horizontal. I take the interfacing and iron it onto the wrong side of the central panel in the center. I turn the pieces to the right side and trim the excess interfacing. Similarly, on the lining fabric, I iron a piece of interfacing on the wrong side in the center. Always remember to trim the excess seam allowances and even out the armhole lines before joining the lining fabric with the main fabric. So, I place the lining and the main fabric pieces with their right sides together. I pin the pieces together. The pieces need to be sewn along the top edges. The bottom edge does not need to be sewn, so the seams are stitched. I make a cut in the center of the central panel. I cut carefully and slowly to avoid making the cut bigger than necessary. I trim the seam allowances, leaving a 0.5 centimeters allowance. I turn the top to the right side. I sew hand stitches on the wrong side of the top. Let's start sewing the peplum. This is a very simple sewing process. Marks need to be made in the center to conveniently join the lower part of the peplum with the waistline. So, you see that there are 4 marks along the waistline. Similarly, there are 4 marks along the lower part of the peplum. This way, it will be convenient to align the lower part of the peplum with the waistline after the gathering stitches are made. Gathering stitches on the lower part of the peplum need to be made from mark to mark. This way, The lower part of the peplum is divided into 4 equal sections, and gathering stitches are made on each section. On my sewing machine, I set the maximum stitch width to 4 mm. I make the gathering stitches on the lower part of the peplum. The first stitch is made 0.5 cm from the edge, and the second stitch is 0.3 cm from the first stitch. Gather each of the 4 sections to match the length of each of the 4 sections of the waistline. When the gathering is sufficient, I tie the threads on both sides to prevent it from coming undone. Then, I pin this part at the waist. So, in each of the 4 sections, I gathered and secured the bottom of the peplum at the waistline. Choose a section on the waistline that will be the center back. Leave 2 cm without gathering in this area, as this is where the zipper will be attached, so gathering is not needed here. I stitch along the waistline to secure the gathered lower part of the peplum to the waistline. Remember to always align the waistline if necessary during the process. This can happen because the fabric can stretch or shrink during pressing, so this is normal. I find the center front on the waistline and align the top center with it. There is a mark on the central front panel's waistline that needs to be aligned with the center of the peplum on the waistline, so remember to always make marks indicating the center lines. I turn the lining fabric down so that it does not interfere at this stage. I align the center of the peplum with the center of the central panel and secure it with a pin. I take the back pieces and pin them to the center back line on the peplum's waistline. Now, I join the top with the peplum all around. Make sure the lining is turned down and not caught in the seam. Draw a line in the center back. This will be a guide for sewing the invisible zipper. Turn the zipper to the wrong side and place it along the center line. Pin it in place. Stitch it. Turn the zipper to the right side, Then turn the second part of the zipper to the wrong side and pin it. Sew it. Now that the zipper is sewn, turning the top to the wrong side, you will see two seams. The peplum needs to be cut along the center line. Turn the zipper to the sides to cut the peplum along the center line. Zip up the zipper and tuck the end inside to the wrong side. Make a backstitch at the bottom where the zipper ends. Turn the top to the wrong side. Lower the lining down, tuck the end of the zipper inside, and direct the seam allowance on the center back lining inside and lower the lining. Pin it. Do the same on the other side. Tuck the end of the zipper inside. Direct the 1 cm seam allowance on the center back lining inside, lower the lining, and pin it. The seam allowances on the waistline will be directed upward inside. Direct the waistline seam allowance on the lining fabric inside and pin it along the waistline. Hand stitch the lining to the main fabric. The only thing left is to finish the raw edges along the center back of the peplum. I folded the seam allowance in half, directed the seam allowance inside, and secured it with hand stitches. The only thing left is to top stitch along the top edges of the top, 0.1 centimeters from the edge, and of course, the final pressing, and the sewing process is finished. I ended up adding a bow to this top. If you are interested in how to sew it, let me know in the comments and I will make a quick video tutorial. You can always find the pattern for this peplum top in my Etsy shop. The link will be in the description. Bye.